and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from Best Western Hotel, Upper Hill here in Nairobi. As always, I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. Now, the Dadas Show is created to promote the spirit of sisterhood and solidarity amongst Kenyan women. And we do this by offering them a safe platform for them to be able to discuss issues pertaining to their health, to their lifestyle, to their jobs, to their careers, to their kids, and anything that affects them in one way or another. Now, the school holidays are upon us. And one of the questions that I know is riddling through many parents' mind is, one, how can I engage my child? And two, what activities can my child engage in that will have a positive impact on them and also help them to holistically prepare for the future? Now, gone are the days when we used to be taken to Shago only to be collected in the beginning of January. We are dealing with a generation of youngsters who, first of all, have a voice and have no problem expressing their opinion. Secondly, they're very independent and resourceful. And finally, they are more tech savvy than we hope to admit. So where does that leave us as parents and guardians? How do we avoid such situations? Because left to their own devices, the results could be worrisome. So how do we go about juggling our day-to-day activities, our busy schedules, at the same time making sure that these children grow up in the right way? Now, thank God that necessity is the mother of invention. So today, I am joined by individuals who have dedicated their time, their resources, and their passion to helping parents and guardians across the country be able to mold their children to being upstanding members of society. So as always, I want to welcome you at home and anybody who's watching us to get in touch with us. Give us your opinions, give us your feedback, give us any thoughts that you may have about this episode or any other episode we've aired before. Contact us at KBC Channel 1 across all the platforms. You can also reach me directly at Ashiko the host across all the platforms. So before we jump into today's conversation, I'm sure all the parents at home, me included, are glued to the screen so that we can hear what we are going to do and how we're going to engage the children for the next 2 months or so. So before we jump into today's conversation, let's take a look at the following feature.
The long holidays are here and students are excited for the break. While the holidays are fun and exciting for many, they can also bring a unique set of challenges for both adults and children. With the changing lifestyles, parents no longer take their children to the village, instead follow the request of their child. As they are popularly referred as Generation Z, these are young people born between 1995 and 2011, and they are comfortable to express their opinions and are independent. We met with Pastor Jeff Masibo, youth pastor at Kileleshwa Covenant Community Church, who made us understand Gen Z.
Gen Zs, they've been described as people with, interesting characteristics. One of them is that they are money-driven. They're hustlers, so to say. They want to make money. That's why talk of TikTok, they want to get in there. They're also anxious. That's why we can see mental health amongst Gen Zs is up there. They've been known as, the generation that has more to do with setting boundaries because of this interesting dynamic. They are smart people as well. They're well exposed. These are people who, have all the information on the smartphones. So they are well informed. Maybe just to answer your question, how to understand these people. Depending on the generation that you're in, you can easily dismiss them, because you're looking at things from the lenses of maybe like a millennial. You're looking at it from, your generation's lenses. And you can easily dismiss them. Maybe you might think just because they are quiet, they are not understanding anything. But the interesting thing about the Gen Zs is they're smart people, so they're always looking for authenticity. They are looking at value. What value are you bringing my way?
Religious organizations, including churches, have shaped themselves as solution providers by engaging those on holidays with different church activities.
The world is reaching out to the Gen Zs. with interesting deals. The world has opportunities for them. There's a big deal here. There's another big deal here. The church also, if we want to catch them, we need to come with that understanding. Who are these people that we are dealing with? And therefore, being strategic in how you reach out to them, whoever that catches them, their attention, wins them. So it's a competition, us from church and the world. So what makes the difference is how strategic. For the Gen Zs, you must engage them, get to know what are the things that they like. Like, for instance, us, we normally have like what we call Teens Week. Teens Week is a 1 week program. So every day has different programs. So we have devotions, we have games, we have different kinds of activities, within 1 week. And then we climax with a sleepover. So the sleepover is at this place. So during the sleepover, we basically change this place to be, it will be full of games, it will be, different activities all together in this place. So they have the whole night here. So we engage them, trying to know what are those things that, are of interest to you. Because we want to win every one of them at all costs. So they've suggested we love games. So we need to bring PlayStations here so that we may catch them. Sports activities. So we have a basketball court here, there. Those ones who want to play basketball, they will play. We have, they also want to participate in, what is it called, community service. So we plan to visit maybe the elderly or the less fortunate kids so that they may, they may do that as well.
With threats from the online world, rampant insecurity, peer pressure, and drug abuse, there is so much vice going around, leaving the parents worried and concerned.
As a parent, have a plan. Like, even before, I know they've already closed school, but have a plan. Have a plan in this way. Because if you don't have a plan, this, like I say, these are smart people, as in, even before they go home, they've already known. They've already figured out the things that they want to do. So you need to have a plan. And it's a very strategic plan. And I would encourage, sometimes, don't just, as much as you do research, also pray about it. What is it? How do I reach out to my kids? How do I reach out to, this group of young people that I'm leading? Because different contexts require different approaches. Parents need to, first of all, there are things, as much as I am a pastor, or the youth worker, or whoever it is that works in the church that takes care of young people, as much as we are there for that purpose, there is the place of parent. There is a place, and parents have been entrusted with that role to train their children in the ways of God. So the role number one of a parent, teach your children in the ways of God. Within this 2 months, why don't you take leave for some days or for a week just to spend time with your children? Spend time, and don't take leave to be busy again, but just take leave to go out with your teen or your young adult, your Gen Z, take them out, spend time with them. Some of them are hurting. Hear them out first. Now, how can you leverage on the advantage that we have, with the smartphones and cheap internet? What great value can we have from, these opportunities that we have? Have these conversations with them, and then and then something good will come out of it.
One way to help your child engage in desired activities or behaviors is to offer lots of praise and reward for good behavior. Parents are urged to spend time with their children and engage them with different activities to keep them away from peer pressure. For Dadas, my name is Miriam Masava.
The fisherman, Kajaku and the preacher man. How I wish we can learn to go out there and teach a man.
So welcome back. Remember, our conversation today, or the show today, is centered around the school holidays. The kids are at home and the parents are scratching their heads wondering, what am I going to do? How can I engage these children? How can I get them into an activity that will benefit their mind, their body, and their soul, and help them to grow? So joining me today is the director of Flourishing Teen Boot Camp. She is not a stranger to Dadas show. She's a friend. We have had her here when she's in a different capacity as a counseling psychologist. So karibu sana, Madam Lucy Kang'ethe.
Thank you, Ashiko.
It's great to have you here. And then next to her, we have a gentleman on the panel of Dadas show, meaning that, it's now serious business. So we have Mr. J.P. Shikuku, who is the Executive Director of Teen Solutions International. Karibu sana, JP. And then finally, we have Madam Yvonne Mosioka, who is the director of EM Africa Academy. Thank you so much, Yvonne. And of course, my wonderful audience. These are my co-hosts. So we hang out every week. We sit, we talk about life, we laugh, we cry, we share experiences. They encourage, they inspire my panel. So as always, asanteni sana for making time to be here with me. So now, like I said, very many parents are glued to the screen right now with books, and they're pulling out their phones so that they can save numbers, so that they can be able to know how you're going to help them. So let's start with you, Lucy. First, give us let us meet Lucy Kang'ethe. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your inspiration behind Flourishing Teen Boot Camp.
This is a program that I have every school holiday where I engage teens and in fact also preteens with psychological building aspects of life. How I got the inspiration is that even when I was young or younger or in high school, I remember there was a program that was hosted here in Nairobi by a group that was calling itself Nairobi Professional Women and Business Club. It was being hosted by the likes of Best Bogo. And they invited us when we were in school to come, and we were trained on so many things. And it was an eye-opener for me. It really helped me see the challenges, see the opportunities in life. So when I became a counseling psychologist, I felt I would need also to do something like that. Actually, as a community psychologist, we hold children, we take children, or we discuss children in context.
Yes.
Not just as children themselves. They are children who are influenced by the systems around them. There are systems that are very near the children, like the parents, like the schools, like their friends. They directly relate with the children. There are others that are a bit distal, like the community, the society, the church, all that. But now, you find that the community or the systems that are interacting directly with the children, sometimes they do not have time for the psychological aspect of the children, especially like the education system. The academic system is so tight as we talk these days, such that what they do, they are doing so well as far as academic is concerned, but the psychological aspect is left behind. And unfortunately, the psychological aspect or the psychological well-being, I feel it is the grease that accelerates performance, even academic performance.
Which is true.
Yeah, and even in social life.
Yeah.
Even in how they respond to situations in life, the challenges, the resilience they need. So we came up with that intentionally as a microsystem in the system that is directly relating with the child. So we created another system that is intentionally handling the psychological aspect of the child.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we do is that every year we have that during school holidays, and the people that is in flourishing mindset, when the children come in, we don't drop them. We go with them all through the journey, actually until they are even 25 years,
Oh, wow.
if they are willing.
Oh.
So it's not a one-off thing. When they join the Flourishing Teens boot camp, they become members, such that we have programs for them every time they close. And then they also become part of us, such that in case they need some psychological intervention in terms of treatment or therapy, we have charges that are very much discounted for them, as long as you're registered in the Flourishing Teens Bootcamp.
Very briefly, just tell us some of the activities that are involved in Flourishing Teen Bootcamp.
It is training them on life skills.
Okay.
That is what we do. We train them on life skills, and then when they are joining Form 1, we also train them and prepare them on what to expect when they go to Form 1. And life skills has so many aspects of it, which makes you feel comfortable, connected, makes you meets your psychological needs to be autonomous, to be independent, to be competent, and also to know how to relate with people and the world out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to hear about what you're saying. And I like what you actually phrased it. And you said, the psychological aspect is most of the time, ignored. Dads tend, and please don't bite my head off. I'm drawing from my own experience. So dads tend to take a back seat when it comes to planning for holiday activities. Yeah. So what led you, as a man, as a father, to decide that, no, this is an area that I want to be involved in, that of course led to the formation of Teen Solutions International?
I started way back when I was a young person myself. And I think working with the young people gave me the passion to just see that I could be able to progress with that. And as time went by, even after I left university, I realized that there is much that I can be able to do with young people. And I think that's where my passion, my desire to work with the youths and the teens especially grew much more. And I ventured more into specializing so that I can now focus on these teens and just be able to see how I can be able to help their life.
Yes.
I've worked with a number of organizations that we're doing quite a number of projects with teens and even their parents within the communities out there. And this is why I keep saying where I go, that this generation needs people that understand them. And if we don't understand them, then there is quite a lot that we are missing. There's a bigger disconnect. And when there is that disconnect, then you realize that we're not able to help them.
Yes.
So that's what gave me the passion, the drive, just to be able to put together. And that's in the year 2019, that's when we realized that we need to now narrow down and focus on the teens.
Yeah.
So in around 2019, that's when Teen Solution International was birthed. And in Teen Solution International, we focus majorly on mentorship. We have a program we call Teens Executive Coaching Program. This happens every single holiday. Every time the teens close schools, we have them over for 3 days, for a week, so that we can be able to take them through intense programs, because our programs are both experiential, they are not more academic, because they are things this generation, you cannot put them in a classroom for them to learn.
Yeah.
So you need to have more of an adventurous kind of experiential learning that allows them to go out swimming, go with them swimming, go out to do hiking, go out to do some mountain climbing, things like that. So then now through that, you sit them down, you're able to have some serious conversations. And then when they leave that, by the fact that you went with them out there, maybe on a mountain hiking or something like a swimming experience, they will remember the swimming, but the lesson that you left with during that particular time. And I think over time, we have seen the impact. We have worked with quite a number of parents, and we're seeing the impact.
Yvonne, now, I like what you do. I like, because now we are moving a little bit away from the mentorship and mental, and there are people who are sitting over there and they're thinking, but I'm fine. What else can we do? So what you normally have in store for these kids every holiday is very unique. I mean, I must say that myself. So since I already know what it is, kindly share the story behind EM Africa Academy.
So EM Africa is a dream that started in 2015. My sister, who is called Erica Modhoni, we are the co-founders, and she founded EM from how she dreamt to be a model. She always wanted to be a model. And now the issue is she had, of course, self-esteem issues. She wasn't as tall. So I remember my mom always telling us what the Bible says, that, what do you have? That is what God says. What do you have? So what did we have? And we are passionate about modeling. We are passionate about fashion. That is where EM Models started. And from then, we've been training children and both adults in personal development classes, in modeling, in talent development. That is music, that is dancing, that is acting, and even public speaking. We actually teach them communication skills, listening skills, because we need them to be all round. So by the time they're actually going out there, and they're already making money, they are getting jobs in advertisement companies, in music, in movies. So this is an amazing program that I would suggest for every parent to enroll their child in EM Africa Academy.
Let me come back to you, Lucy, and I want to tap into your psychology background a little bit. Everybody has been mentioning child development, and everybody at home is most probably wondering, what is all this child development story? What is the importance of healthy child development with this generation?
There are two aspects of it. There is the physiological and there is the psychological. Meeting the psychological needs and the physiological needs. And physiological needs, the parents and everybody are doing quite well on that.
Yes.
But the part that is a bit lagging behind is the psychological development, where you help the child to be mentally all right, such that they're able to handle the challenges that they face in life, which are so many. Actually, I say, it's not like children of these days have changed. Children have not changed. They are the same way they were, and the way they are born and everything, they grow. What has changed are the challenges that they face. So we want to have a child who has developed muscles enough that will be able to handle whatever comes their way, whether it's failure or success, because success can also even be a challenge. Yeah. You don't know how to handle.
Excellent. So now I love that. I love what we are putting out there. Now, speaking of challenges, JP, please tell me, when these kids are brought to you, when you're going for the camping and the hiking and all of those things, I know kuna wakati wanafunguka.
Yes.
Please tell me, what are some of the challenges, so that, some of our parents at home and guardians can actually be on the lookout for and know huyu pengine akona aka kashida.
Yes. I think one of the biggest challenge that these young people are having every time they come is the fact that they are trying to find space. And as they try to seek for a certain kind of a freedom, then that is met with a lot of either consequences or a lot of opposition.
Yes.
And as they're trying to seek that, then they birth a conflict with their parents. And this conflict then now multiplies to other things. Now they try to seek refuge in other things. Now they begin to look for their friends who later on lead them to maybe engaging in other things. Now as they come, you pick one item, but you realize there are more other issues that this young person is having. And it's important for parents to understand, because that environment that creates conflict at home is very critical, because it informs the other issues that this child or these teens go through. And it's therefore important that they guard the environment at home. Number two is the issue of relationships that are created within the environments they stay in. These young people find relationship as a hub of finding comfort.
Yes.
So when they find someone who loves them or who cares for them, whether it's a watchman, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's another boy out there, they find that as a place of comfort. And therefore, they will be able to do anything, including lying, so that they can be able to get that environment or access that kind of a comfort that they receive from the other person. So it's important for parents just to understand that their children are going through a place where they need to find that kind of a place where they can be able to know they are cared for, they find the comfort they desire, rather than them going to seek. The other thing that is important for me to mention, they come, some of them who have already gone past stages of drug addiction. So as we are talking about drug addiction, we go back to understand why did this young person go into drugs. The other thing is finding themselves into a place of going to into multiple relationships. Because these are the things that are affecting these particular young people. And as they come, they're already depressed. Some of them come so mentally disturbed, and I like what Lucy is bringing in this conversation, because it's important, the psychological development of our children, so that we take care of it, because that is one of the problems that we are struggling with. They will actually threaten their parents that I am ready to die and I don't care. Why are they reaching to those levels of threatening? It's because there are certain issues that are underlying. And for us, as they come to us, we begin to then dissect each and every problem so that then now we can be able to help them. But above all, it's important for us to know that these young people are actually seeking for space.
Okay.
That is the most critical thing.
I want to ask you something, Yvonne. So you're talking about talents. You're talking about, you know, we've talked about talents and we're talking about the challenges. So we have witnessed, of course, we've had child actors, we've had child models, we've had all these, you know, young souls that were introduced into the limelight at a very young age. And of course, over the years, we've watched them grow, and some of them have turned out okay. Please note, I'm putting quotes in quotes, okay. And others have turned out not okay, quote in quotes. What is considered, you know, societally acceptable.
That's a very important question, and that's why we have included soft skills, things like self-management, self-awareness classes. If you know who you are, nobody else can tell you who you are. So the moment they find their identity as early enough as possible, and we also have these classes with their parents or maybe their guardians who are also involved in every step of the way. So actually, I have seen parents who are working with their children from day one up to the end. They even end up quitting their jobs to manage their children's career, which is a good thing, because now they have somebody they can trust by their side. Yes,
Britney Spears begs to differ, but yeah, so
yeah, there's so many stories of parents who have actually taken advantage of their children, and that's why we do even have a psychologist, even in our department, who also deals with such issues. She's a counseling psychologist. Her name is Kola. So she's able also to deal with such issues and speak to the parents, speak to the kids. We also have older mentors, men and women, we also bring them on the ground to speak to the parents and the children so that we can be able to understand how can we be able to economically grow, but at the same time we are not losing ourselves. We are not losing who we are, our essence. So that is the whole point of EM Africa. That's what we do. It's all round.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So thank you so much. That's a very nice point for us to actually stop and go on a short break. And then when we come back, we'll come back for the question and answer session. And I know that their parents have written them. Please share with me on our social media pages at KBC Channel 1, whatever questions you would want to find out in regards to what they do, what activities, and then we will be able to respond to you. Let's take a short break and we'll be back in a little while. Don't go far away.
kama mzazi naweza advise watoto saa hii si wakati mzuri wa kuachilia wakuwe free. Inabidi tuwa engage, tuwapee homework zile zenye wamepewa shule, wazifanye, wamalize, na tuwaongezee vitabu, tuwapee muda kuangalia ni vitu gani wanafanya, iwe kwa simu, juu mtandao pia inaharibu watoto kwa sasa. Watoto wengine wafundishwe mambo ya nyumbani.
My advice for the children who are now on holiday, they should indulge in like some soft skills, like, learning things like coding, because now the world is moving towards technology. So they can do coding, they can do also things like, they can also do house chores, like, cooking. We need chefs, like when you go for holidays, we need them, so they can start from home. Those who are talented in like music, they should indulge in, even if it's just doing a cover of a certain song, especially I would advocate for gospel, so that you can also have, ministration of, the Bible. We need God right now. There's so many things that are going on in the world right now. So let children sing, let them participate in church, the community services.
Now, kuna wamama pia wako na biashara. Enda na mtoto wako kwa business. Mtume kwa errands, kama ni kusupply food, ataenda atarudi. Make sure umemengage the whole day so that asikuwe na ile time free inaweza kuwa mind yake iring kwenda kufanya vitu mbaya.
Welcome back to the school holiday special on Dadas Show. We're very excited about this show and this particular episode because, as well, the kids are home and they're going to be with us for a while. So how are we going to have a harmonious relationship? How are we going to be able to get along? And earlier on, we were talking to individuals who have dedicated their time to helping us to be able to mold these youngsters. So now we are joined, we are going to have our question and answer session. And I'm hoping that some of the questions that you have are going to be represented from my audience here. So to start us off, we have Wangeshi. Wangeshi, karibu sana to Dadas Show.
So thank you so much, Ashiko, for the opportunity to be in Dadas Show. It's really an exciting feeling. My name is Wangeshi Moshiri, a high school teacher and a counseling psychologist, also director Wangeshi Teens Empowerment Hub. And I would like to make a comment in regards to having been a teacher and this being a holiday. Many a times parents wonder how we're able to contain these children when they're in school, and probably just a piece of advice on how to go about it when you're home. At school, we have structured systems, and that's why we call, actually when the students are going back to school, they say they are going back to the system. As opposed to home, where you just let them be. There's no structure, there's no program, and they just wake up and spend an entire day without any structure. So if that could be done, probably, if parents could come up with a structure that will allow the children know what to do when, then that will be a good thing, and it will be a good way of helping manage the time. Thank you.
By the teacher Wangeshi, there you have spoken like 15 teachers, to be honest, because I believe, and me actually being a victim of this, and I'm sure very many parents, when they come home for the holidays, you sort of want them to relax, but we do not know, it's hitting me right now, the kind of damage that we are also doing. Because how are they able to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, but when they come home, because you let them sleep, they can barely be awake by 11. Midday, someone is looking like they've been digging for coal. So I think it's very important. I think it's important for all of us. We are all able to thrive because we actually have our own systems and structures. From this time to this time, you'll be doing this. So I think the same can also apply during the school holidays without necessarily, being very draconian, but you can actually be able to put systems in place. Asante sana mwalimu, by the way, that's actually something I have learned today. So our next question or comment is from Sue.
My name is Sue Musando. I'm the founder of the Parenting Teenagers Hub for Kenyan moms and dads. It's a support group for parents. And one of the things that inspired me to start the group was to help parents understand their children. Because I think what most of us parents assume is that parenting is automatic. But you have to read, you have to research, you have to know what is expected of a teenager, physically, psychologically. And these teenagers are also watching us. The way we behave, the way we do things in the house, the way we party, all these things they see. We inspire our children. So even as we are taking care of our children, we want them to behave in certain ways, we also have to watch ourselves because we are setting examples for them.
So asante sana, Sue, for that. Our next question is from Bobby.
Thank you. So my question is, what is the importance of the mentorship programs for the boy child?
How important is mentorship, especially, actually, Lucy? What is the importance of mentorship to the boy child, the one that we're dealing with right now?
Actually, that's a very good question. And we seriously need mentorship for the boy child. I think the girl child has come a long way, has had a lot of support, but somehow I don't know what happened because it looks like the boy child has been left a bit behind. And I don't know why it's like that because it feels like the boy child is left to figure things out for themselves. I don't know who came up with the idea that a boy child can figure out things by themselves. And I think that is where the problem is. I have found out even in therapy, when a young man comes in for therapy, even they are not able to express themselves. You ask them what the problem is, they actually are not able to express. When it is a girl, they are able to articulate their issues so well. But for a boy, it's different. So I would urge the men out there, please mentor the boy child. The boy child needs mentorship. The boy child needs to grow psychologically. They need to grow the stamina we are talking about just as much as the girl child needs to grow. And unfortunately, because they don't know how, I don't know whether it's their language of expressing their emotions that is lacking or what the problem is, when they have issues, when they are suffering, they are not even able to share them out. So they are suffering alone. And actually, it has been, research has found that most of the people who are even committing suicide, unfortunately, are men. So they require mentorship. They want to be told that you cannot figure life alone.
Yes.
You need somebody to walk with you.
Yes.
And there are so many men out there who can do that. Just take a young man next to you and be their mentor. Help them to grow and be the man that they're expected to be and that God purposed them to be.
Yes. Thank you so much. Round of applause for our counselor. And thank you so much, Bobby. That is a very crucial, that's a very crucial topic, and it needs to be brought to the forefront. And we are happy, we are ecstatic with the milestones that the girl child is hitting. The girl child is raised to be confident. She's raised to be, to be aggressive. She's raised to know what she wants, and she's going for it. And this is evident every single day. However, they are all our children. They're all our children. They're all members of society. Women and girls are not going to leave the planet Earth and go and live somewhere else. We all need to find a way to coexist. So today I want to reach out and call out all the men who are in a position of authority out there. If you're in a position of authority, if you're a leader, if you can be able to stand, if you can be able to inspire and have a positive impact. Take a boy child somewhere, be a role model, because to be honest, we are making some very, sad observations, just like what JP said about the parents who are bringing these boys to the camps. It's just women. So there's a gap, there's a need, and it needs to be addressed before it's too late. Thank you so much, Bobby. That was a very, very good question. So now we are going to move on to our next question from one Mr. Byron.
I am Byron Otieno, and I have a question. It's directed directly to JP. Now, you said that you were talking about activities that maybe you engage with the children when they come over for the training and something. Now, the question is, what are some of the activities that parents and their children can engage in at their homes that are kind of affordable, that will help them build a bond, maybe that can facilitate a relationship that will last long before warudi shule tena?
And especially at this particular time when our kids are at home, it's good that parents get to know what are some of the easy activities that we can be able to engage in so that we keep our children busy. And I'll start from a place which I personally do practice, because most of the time we are at home with my children, and what we do is we wake up in the morning, and after we do our breakfast, we're able to say, now we want to go for a walk. And we do a walk for about an hour. Then while we are walking, there are things that we are talking. There are things that we are engaging, trying to find out some of the issues that they have. And as we talk, they bring out some very critical and sensitive issues as we are doing those walks in the morning. And out of that, then we are able to come in the evening, then we start handling one by one. So that could be something that some parents, especially when you have time, create some time and walk, do a walk in the morning, or even in the evening when you come early from work. That is a simple activity. There are also other activities that you can engage in. You know, there's a lot of, especially the CBC that we have today, has created an environment for our children to be able to be more practical. So there's quite a lot of coloring, there's a lot of painting, there's a lot of crafts that we are making, and simple crafts that you can be able to just keep your children at all ages. Actually, you make it fun. Even if you have the teens and then you have the smaller ones, you can be able to do as a family. You can be able to engage into a coloring competition. Basically, you can make it a coloring competition for the family. You can make it crafts. Who has done the best? And basically, you just keep them engaged. And then for the teens especially, I think they like going out. They like doing activities. So I'll encourage the parents to take them out. You don't have to pay a lot. You can decide actually to just board a matatu, then you go to some public places, have fun. Let them have exposure to different places, because if you also confine them into the home environment, they get bored. They get tired. So it's good that you take time. We have very good places that are also not very expensive, that are public, that you can be able to just visit there with 100 shillings. You enter in a place, and then you're able to have fun with your children there and enjoy. So there are quite a number of activities. There are also activities that are more academic, that I will also encourage parents to engage, because there are programs that are geared towards STEM or STEAM. Nowadays we call them STEM or STEAM. That is S for what? S for science, T for technology, E for engineering, A for arts, and S for M for what? For mechanical engineering and all that. So those kind of activities are out here, and some of them are not expensive. Why don't you expose your child to such environment? Shiko, I think that's something that we can encourage parents to do.
We definitely can encourage. I think it's about employing some creativity in what you do. You can be able to work it around your schedule. How does it work? You know, the walk is always something that is always a good proof idea that has always worked. You can always go to a park. You can always go hiking. Things that are expensive. The idea is to get them to a point of relaxation so that they can be able to open up and you can be able to bond. So nobody is saying necessarily you have to go and pay for this and go and pay for this. You can be creative in ways of bonding with your child. I also want to find out from you, Yvonne, when we're looking at talents, because you're a talent manager, model and talent management, let's look at the talent aspect. How can parents encourage, because you notice that this child has a talent from afar, the child has a talent from afar, so how can parents start encouraging their kids to be a little bit more outgoing, because you know that someone is shy And I think I'm where I am, you know, because of encouragement that I got. So if I didn't grow up in an environment where someone was telling me, keep quiet. You know, somehow they knew one day my mouth is, you know, going to make me money. How can parents do that? How can they encourage something like that?
So when it's a charity begins at home. Yeah. So whatever we are building from the ground. That is at home, in the kitchen, in the living room. That is what we do. So what you do as a parent, you encourage your child. If she loves, for example, modeling, you just let her take your, your outfits. I remember we used to take my mom's outfits, especially my sister. She will take the high heels and wear them, and she would encourage her and even buy them for her if she was able to, and encourage her to even do a small fashion show for us. And then another thing that happened is we were able to showcase our talent even at church, because now we used to go to church. She exposed us to church, whereby we were able to sing. Okay, come and sing. You love singing? Go and sing in church. People like Beyonce started singing in church, from church.
True,
so
yeah.
that you start from there, because if you are able to do a small, build your own small community. We also have your neighbors. You can just connect your neighbors. Hey, let's just do a small talent show.
A small performance.
Just in the apartment. You don't need to go. It won't use. You will not use any money, and then you will engage, like JP has said. You'll engage things like art for people who are good in decorating, people who are good in designing, and people who are good in catwalk and music and singing and art. So you are able to engage everyone in that small community. So we should start from the community where we are. So that is what we actually encourage our parents to do.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's really good. So when you're home, when you're having outings and people are coming home, you have relatives. This is a season where people are always visiting each other. And you know that your child has a gift in ABCD. You know, encourage them to perform, encourage them to showcase. And once they start building confidence and they get affirmation, then it will also be preparing them for a bigger stage. Now, our final question of the day is from Mzito. Mzito, jukwaa ni lako.
Thank you, Ashiko. My name is Mzito Elfas. My questions goes directly to Madam Musyoka. We've got some of these parents whom their children, they are more talented in arts, music, beat, and what encouragement or how can you take about for these parents who they don't like or want their children to engage in those things, be it arts or music?
So, and of course, some of the people who are outstanding right now as actors and artists and so many things that they have been doing, they've had to endure a lot. They've had to endure a lot of backlash from family. They've had to endure a lot, underpaid, overworked, underpaid. So it is something that we can completely relate to. And one of the main issues is because the government itself, maybe may not recognize. I mean, nowadays it's improving, rightfully so. It's improving, but for a very long time, the arts were not recognized as actually like a revenue builder, revenue bringer. It was not, and people struggled. Of course, now this mindset has, of course, advised most parents. So you remember there's a song by Nazizi where she says, mama, nataka kuwa rapa. And then mamake anamkashifu sayo, she's told you can't be, So that's a mentality the majority of us grew up with. Now, because we want to change that narrative, as I'm sitting here and I have maybe a child who is, artistic, maybe they're leaning towards the sports. What message do you have for me? I'm sitting down, I'm holding them back and I'm telling them, you have to be a doctor. And you have to be a lawyer or an engineer. Not that there's anything wrong with those professions, but someone wants to come to me and tell me, you know what, I want to play rugby. Yes. How do you go about advising some parents who are doing what, say, I'm doing?
So what we advise parents is to nurture their children's talent, nurture them. And that's why we actually encourage, science encourages parents to actually, when you are affirming your child, give her the affirmation, not only you are clever, you are good, like effort affirmations, you are talented, you are gifted, so that they can know who they are and believe it. Because now when you know who you are from the house, like I said, from the ground, you are able to believe in yourself. So when you know, for example, I'm able to sing, So encourage me to actually do it. I'm not saying you should put aside the academics. No, there's time for everything, right? So you should be able to have time for that, allocate time for that. And if you actually have the resources, right now we have so many organizations, we have so many opportunities, we have sports clubs. You can be able to take your child there to start, learning how to swim as early as possible, and actually as the earlier they start, the better. You can actually send them to a modeling fashion club, a design. There are so many organizations right now that encourage you to nurture your talent. And actually, I can say, if looking at it like you've said, a lot of people, the biggest names are people in the arts. So let's embrace it. Let's realize that, there's a hand and there's a head, there's a leg. There are so many different, functions, part of the body, and they need to work together. We cannot all be doctors. So, and that's, you've had people who have quit. They were lawyers, but they quit. They went to sing. They went into music, right? So that is something we all know, and we've had and we've seen it. So I believe that I can be able to to nurture my talent, and actually I can be able to build a career from my talent. Right now, I'm actually building a career from my talents. That is what I do. I do not do, actually what I went to school for is not what I'm doing right now. So that is, and I am fulfilled. And as Lucy, you were talking about the psychology of children, how they are able to not be able to understand who they are. Imagine you have pushed her to be a lawyer and she wanted to be a musician. So she will be depressed eventually.
And that has happened a lot. And I think in my generation, that happened a number of times, because you were told. And you see, thank God for this generation. This generation, like I said, and we started off saying, these youngsters have a voice. And they have no problem airing their opinion. And of course, sometimes it cuts like a double-edged sword, because they're not going to let you sit, they'll tell you, they'll ask you, they'll challenge you. But that is the reality of who they are as we speak. So we have come to the end of today's very interactive, very informative and insightful episode. My 2 cents on the whole matter, especially when we are, we are just about to kick off the holidays, is, every day as parents, as guardians, we strive to put food on the table. We strive to provide for our children's wants and needs. And sometimes this can be overwhelming, and we may lose sight that the importance of also providing for their spiritual, their psychological, and their emotional well-being. Now, we only have our kids for a limited amount of time before they go off and they fend for themselves. So as I leave today, my question to you is this: what kind of daughter or son, what kind of man or woman are you releasing to the world? And what role did you play in how they turn out? So as always, we welcome all your feedback, all your questions, all your comments to our social media pages at KBC Channel 1. And I want to thank my production team, my wonderful location partner, Best Western Hotel, Upper Hill here in Nairobi, and myself, Ashiko Mbune. I wish all the kids at home a happy holiday. I wish their parents an even happier holiday. Let's practice understanding, compassion, and all those good things that come with us. So we'll see you same time, same place next week. But for now, bye-bye.
Mm.